And there are some people that are joining us already. So,
Yes.
Elena
Welcome.
Basana, Aloria, hello. We've got Maria.
This is fantastic.
Lots of people already in the room here waiting for us. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good
afternoon.
morning, everybody. Oh, hello. Hi, Maria. Everybody can say hello on the chat. That would be lovely to hear from you.
We have Amelia has come in too, Katarina Lega, Celesta.
2 people called Galaxy.
Yeah, interesting name. I think that's a mobile phone, Sean.
What? You're kidding.
Well, hello. Oh, good morning.
And Sophia has wrote to us on the Q&A. She said, hello. Thanks for writing us, Sophia. You can also use the chat feature for just writing conversations back and forth. Good morning, everybody.
We have someone from Salto in Uruguay.
Here we go.
Buenos dias.
Fantastic.
Adriana has come on, Amelia now, Barbara. Lots of people joining us already this morning.
Oh, from Buenos Aires. Ah, I lived in Buenos Aires for a while. Beautiful city. Absolutely beautiful, ladies. And Uruguay as well. I've also traveled around there. Beautiful too.
Of course, Rosanna is here from Italy. Hello from Italy. Hello from Baltimore.
Buongiorno. I'm trying all my different languages here, everybody. We should be able to say hello in a lot of different languages around the world.
We have more than 450 people registered for today's webinar from all over the world. So this is not just coming out of Europe, but it is coming literally from all the corners of the world today. So we're really excited to be having so many people registered. And we're going to go ahead and get started, just as soon as everybody's on the chat and ready to go.
Hello from Russia. Wonderful. We really are international. We're South America, we're Russia, we're Europe.
Hi, Laura. Good to see you. Thanks for chatting.
And so everybody, while we're waiting for everybody to join, and we'll keep saying hello to you, we would like to know a little bit, of course, I have to be British, a little bit just about the weather. I have to say the weather here in London is unbelievable. Not that I'm allowed outside, but the weather is fantastic. Beautiful blue sky, sunshine. It really is a very, very beautiful day. What about the weather where you are, everyone around the world? How is the weather today? Also, Carson, how's the weather where you are? Sorry.
We have rain today in Baltimore, and it's a little bit cold, so not what we're used to during this time of year, but it's okay for us. We also have Serena joining us from Genoa, and Veronica has joined us now from Uruguay as well. So just wanted to add some of the people who've come in. Giuseppe has come in, Maria, lots and lots of people joining us this morning, over 100 people now, almost 100 people now on the call, and we're expecting a few hundred more before we get started.
So we seem to have some different weather going on in different places around the world. We have some cloudy, some sunny, cold, some rainy.
Yes, in Norwich it's bright and lovely and sunny, but I believe it's quite cold.
We have somebody that's hot in Uruguay. It seems like a bit cloudy. That's Patricia writing in for us today. So there we go. And we've got someone in from Pola as well. That is Katarzyna. I hope I said that right. I apologize for pronunciation of the names.
Sunny, windy, cold, rainy.
Hi, Renata from Venice. Thank you for joining us today.
Spring has sprung for us.
It's snowing. Wow. Where is it snowing? That's interesting, isn't it? There is snow.
Is that a mountainous region? Ah.
Sarah's come in now, and Anna has come in. Katarina says it's in Tuscany.
Oh, wow. Snowing in Tuscany. Very interesting. Ladies, I'm so interested in the weather, obviously. And gentlemen, I do apologize. I'm sure the gentlemen will keep telling me and reminding me. And I keep saying ladies only. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I will actually get you to show me a little digital show of hands afterwards of how many men we have, gentlemen, and how many ladies we have, so I know as I'm talking, okay?
Lots of people that have now joined us as well here. So we have Michaela on with us, Medoro is on with us, Michele, Natalia, Nicholas, Patrizia, Paula, Rafi is on, Renata, Ricardo, Rosa, lots and lots of people joining us now. We're just over 100 attendees, and we're going to get started in about 5 minutes. And the presentation today is expected to last between 25 and 35 minutes, depending upon how much of that participation we get from you guys.
I would also just say, I keep seeing, you know, there's a real combination of weather happening around the world, and some snow, which I do find fascinating. Obviously, I have to say, usually in London around this time, it is snowing. So the fact that it's not snowing at this time is quite interesting, but it is snowing some of the places where you are.
We have Francesca that just said hello. Hi, Francesca. Thanks for joining us today. Etta Cignoli is back again from Lombardy. Thanks for joining us again today. Anna is here from Napoli in the south of Italy. Wonderful. And the province of Zero, they said it's snow. Very weird for this time of year. That's Caterina Lega.
Yeah, the same for us. It's very weird for it to be sunny in London. Actually, it's very sunny. It's very weird for it to be too warm here in the UK. As I'm sure a lot of you may know when you've come here and visited us.
I know, the last couple of summers have been very nice.
Yeah, it's been that kind of the unusual weather season of it being really hot in July, August.
Well, the number of people here that are joining us keeps climbing. We have Augustine now that's joined us, Alessandra, Amelia. We have Ariana, Barbara Fabrini is on, Carmen is here with us, Carolina, Katerina, Cinzia is on with us as well, Daniela and Elena, Elisabetta.
Been there 3 times.
Right? Elvira. So boy, it's we've got a great bunch coming on with us today. We're just under 150 attendees and still expecting a couple hundred more. So we're going to give it about 3 to 4 more minutes here before we go ahead and get started on time. And again, the presentation today is expected to last between 25 and 35 minutes, depending upon your participation.
Yeah, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. You know, we're really happy that you've signed on, you're coming on, and, you know, you're joining us on these weekly webinars. So we're really delighted to have you here joining us. And obviously, you know, we want you to get as much as you can from these sessions today. And believe me, I thoroughly enjoy hosting them. They are lots of fun to get involved with and to get you involved with as well. So yeah, so we look forward to beginning shortly. I think we still have a couple more minutes before we begin.
Tanya, we have a good question here from Katerina. She asked about getting a certificate of attendance. We are accredited by the Ministry of Education inside of Italy as a company. We're only allowed to issue those certificates after a 4-hour course has been completed. So what we do is we take the attendance from all of our webinars, and after the 4th one, we will then decide on who's been attending for those 4. We will send out those certificates to you. So even if you miss 1 or 2, if, you know, over the course of the next couple of weeks, once you attend your 4th webinar with us, then you'll get a 4-hour certificate from MLA for that professional development and teacher training.
Yes. So again, that certificate will be issued 4 sessions, 4 hours. And, you know, I'm a qualified teacher. I'm more than happy to sign any of that, and the company will ensure that they are ready for you. So again, something to bring back to, you know, our professional careers as well.
Lots of good people. There was somebody that just joined us. Oh, it's Stefani, who's coming from Como, one of my favorite places on the planet. I had the most delicious piece of lake fish over risotto from Como with sage. A dish that I remember for a long time. So hi from Como. Carson from Baltimore. Thank you so much for your beautiful city and your beautiful lake. And hopefully I get back over to Italy very soon.
Yeah. A country I have yet to explore more of. Sorry, Sean, what was that?
As in, don't make me hungry for Italian things. I'll start thinking about.
Okay, so here's one. We have Cecilia Munoz is on from Querétaro. Querétaro? I don't know where that is. Sean, does anybody else? Tanya?
No.
Queretaro.
Mexico?
I don't know, but hello, Cecilia.
Mexico.
Nice to have you.
Yes, she says Mexico.
Wow, what a fantastic international panel that we have today. That's really interesting. We're from all over. Como is waiting for you, Carson. Look at that.
I
That
look
film will
forward
be
to it.
there and ready for you again. That's amazing.
It's going to be great. We're going to go ahead and give it just one more minute here before we go ahead and get started. Again, our presentation today is expected to last between 25 and 35 minutes. We thank you so much for joining us, and we'll go ahead and get started in just 1 minute once we get the final attendees here with us. Just under 200 people joining us today for our second Talk Time webinar series, and we've got a great one for you here, folks. This is going to be some great lesson ideas to use with your students, great tips and tricks on remote learning and digital lessons. So we'll go ahead and get started in just 1 minute.
And we would ask as well, you know, for you all to be prepared that just like we are doing lots of digital learning at the moment, that you participate, you know, actually taking part as in joining us today, but also be prepared. We will want to hear your voices and hear some of your ideas. And we'll play a couple of games with you as well. So do be prepared to mute, unmute your mic, things like that we're going to get involved in, aren't we, Carson?
And we have Lazari here that's in with us now from Russia. So just literally people from all corners of the world today. We're so excited to be sharing this webinar series with our colleagues around the corner of the globe. We have people that have come in now from Poland and from Russia, from Ukraine, of course, Italy and Europe is well represented. Uruguay has a great population with us on the call today. So thanks once again for joining us today. And I think at this moment, we can go ahead and get started.
Fantastic.
All right.
So, are you ready to begin?
We are. I'm just going to go back here to my slides. All right. Well, thank you once again for choosing to spend a part of your day with us here. Since 1976, Move Language Ahead has been a leader in providing safe educational and cultural programs to guests from all over the world. We hope that you found our last webinar series very useful, and we look forward to providing these free teacher training courses to our friends and colleagues throughout the world. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started today. And I'll begin by welcoming you to Zoom video conferencing. Zoom is the platform that MLA has chosen to use for our webinars, but it's also an excellent platform for digital learning and for digital classrooms. You've already accomplished the first and most important step, and that's logging in to today's webinar. So thank you for joining us. You'll find some helpful buttons on the bottom of your screen today. You will find one of the buttons, which is our chat function, that allows you to send messages to both the panelists that are with us today, but also the attendees. So you can give us the greetings and where you're coming from, what the weather's like in your part of the world today. You'll also have an option there for Q&A. Q&A can be used for questions and answers, obviously. So if there is a question that you have, you can type in your question there, and we will try to answer that throughout today's webinar, or we will get to any unanswered questions at the end of today's seminar. You will also find a polling button appear throughout one of the slides on the presentation today. Once we put the poll out to you, you will click on the poll, and you can join us with doing that interactive poll question that's specific to today's digital learning topic that we have for you. And lastly, the feature that we will use the absolute most today, it's called Raise Your Hand. There's a little button at the bottom of your screen with a hand that allows you to raise your hand throughout the presentation today. So when we ask you to raise your digital hand throughout today's presentation, you're going to go ahead and click that button. We're going to do that several times. That also gives us the opportunity to pass the microphone on to you. So if you raise your hand for participation, we will allow you to have your microphone be unmuted. So you click on the button to allow the microphone, you unmute your microphone, and then you can speak with us live on site of today's Talk Time webinar. So let's go ahead and practice. Everybody go to the bottom of your screen and click on the Raise Your Digital Hand button. Click on that Raise Your Hand button. Wow. And it looks like everybody is finding it. So that is perfect. Exactly what we want.
Fantastic. There's going to be lots of digital hand raising today, just like there is in the classroom.
All right. So now that we've got some good practice inside, we're going to go ahead and lower those hands for you guys. And then I will pass this back to Tanya, who will go over today's agenda.
So as we can see, today we're going to look at planning an online lesson, or just some of the stages that are involved in online lessons, which is very similar to the things that we have in our regular lessons. We're also going to have a look at some of the technology, and we're just going to pull out some of the things that you can use in the technology with an application like Zoom, for example. We're also gonna play a couple of games with you, which is always fun, and looking at adapting the activities that we do in the classroom to online. We'll also give you a couple of resources, some blogs, some internet, some online articles that you can take away. And please know, you will get these slides after the webinar today. So you can get all of this information, every slide that we are showing you, you will have access to, okay? And of course, at the end, we'll test you. What did you learn from the webinar today? Just like you do with your students, you get to get tested, okay? So we'll move on to our little meet the team. But again, let's practice that function of raising our digital hand. So what I would like to do is ask you all first. How many of you in our group today attended our webinar last week? Please put up your digital hand and let us know.
Wow, welcome back. There's a lot of people who are on their hands now. So thank you so much for joining us last week. Last week was the first in our series of MLA Talk Time, which was just a basic introduction to the online classroom. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, we're really pleased that you come back and joined us, and welcome to everybody new. What we'd like to do is do another little practice of those functions and that hand raising. How many of you have met our wonderful Carson before? Please raise up your little digital hand if you've met Carson.
I'm sure I've met a lot of you at our MLA annual conventions. This past year, we were in Valencia. We were in Berlin the year before that. I've met you in Naples before. And if I haven't met you, I'm really excited to get the opportunity to see you at one of our programs or one of our events that we host throughout the world. So thanks again. And so of everyone that has raised their digital hand there, Carson, can we get a little bit of a gossiping maybe going on, everyone? Who knows something about Carson, something interesting that maybe you could share with all of us? We'll get Carson to have a little practice now with this unmuting and give us a little bit of information. So please go ahead. We're very interested to hear what you have to say. What do you know about Carson? All right, so we have somebody here. We have Ada Cignoli, who's in from Italy with her hand raised. Hi, Ada. Can you unmute your microphone?
Yes, of course.
Here she is. You were with us last weekend too. Welcome back. How did you meet?
Thank you. Happy to see you again.
Oh, we're so happy you're joining us. So please do tell us a little bit. What do you know about Carson? Tell us something interesting.
Oh, well, I went to the Ramapo Center. On the first year he worked with MLA, and then I came back last year. I met him again in Los Angeles, and I hope I'm going to meet him again this year in Miami. But
we look forward to it.
Oh,
thanks so much, Ada. We also have Rosanna on with us. Rosanna, hi, how are you?
Hi, Carson. I met you, if you remember, last year or 2 years ago, I don't remember well, in Los Angeles. And you were going to marry that time.
I am fully married, so we're past that. Yes, we have a beautiful center in Los Angeles at Pitzer College, and it's one of my favorite centers that we run. Just a beautiful campus there with a beautiful swimming pool just at the base of the Claremont Mountains. So nice to see you, Rosanna. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, that's lovely. Some really nice information there, ladies. Thank you. So let's move on and do a little bit more of a bit more digital hand raising and a bit of gossiping. So please, I like a little bit of gossiping. Maybe it's because I'm a woman, I don't know. But you tell me, ladies out there, who knows me? And come on, tell me some gossip. What do you know about me? Is there anything you know? Raise your hands if you've met me, and also raise your hands if you have any gossip about me.
Okay, we have Christine Macri, who's with us today. You can unmute your microphone and you can join us live.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Tanya, I've seen you a few times. You won't remember me, but I know you like gossip. There's no doubt about it.
You're absolutely right, Christina. I'm not going to lie to you. I love doing a little bit of gossiping with the kids as well. They love it. And, you know, it's fun, isn't it? Harmless. Never anything severe, but a bit of harmless gossiping is fun. So, Christine, are you coming? Are you planning to come to the UK this year, next year?
Yeah, I usually drop in once a year. It looks a little difficult, but...
Well, if you do, I'm expecting you to come and find me and say, remember the webinar, that was me, okay? And we'll have a little gossip face-to-face, Christine, okay?
Okay, great. Thanks.
Thanks for joining us, Christine.
Thanks, Christine. So finally, our last one today is for Sean. Now, Sean, as we may say, may be a bit of a dark horse, a little bit of idiom for you. So if you don't know that much about Sean, or you haven't met Sean, maybe you want to have a little guess at guessing something about Sean. So again, could you maybe raise your digital hands a little bit and maybe tell us, have you met Sean, you haven't, or what do you think about Sean Crawford?
Okay, be kind. Oh, Sean Crawford, you've revealed my surname as well.
I revealed the whole name there, Sean.
I don't know, lots of people being shy today, not a lot of hands. So Sean, I think you're just going to have to do your own introduction today.
Yes, Sean, tell us. Go ahead.
Yes, well, I may have met one or two of you at the conference in November. That was my first interaction with the world of MLA. But I've been a teacher of English since the end of 2008. And I've been a manager since around 2015, 2016, and I've branched into writing materials, teacher training, and all sorts of that good stuff. I'm also looking to use this as an opportunity to increase my knowledge of online teaching.
So thank you, Sean. And I think, again, for all you ladies out there, for all of us, and gentlemen, I would just stop there actually and say, can I actually just have a digital show of hands? How many gentlemen do we have on our webinar today? Can you please raise your hand for all of the gentlemen in our conference today?
We have Ricardo. Thank you, Ricardo. We have Nicholas. We have Massimo. We have Alfonso, Daniela. So lots of people here.
Fantastic. Well, thank you. Then that just reminds me to keep saying ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, gentlemen. Remind me at any time that you need to, okay? So let's have a look today at what our webinar is, you know, the things that we're going to cover within our webinar today. So again, the one thing that we do need to know, and I believe that we're going to be doing sorry, Carsten, just on this point, we're going to be doing a little, what is the word that I'm looking for?
Yes, poll.
A poll. Thank you very much. Look, I just need a bit of help there with some vocabulary that slips out of your mind.
That's right, Tanya. So we've just launched our interactive poll today question, which is, what software do you use for your digital lessons? So if you can click on to the poll button on the bottom of your screen, you can now answer our poll question, which is, what software do you use for your digital lessons? The options we have for you are Zoom, Skype, FaceTime, WhatsApp, Google, or other platforms. So go ahead and find that polling button on the bottom of your screen, click on the polling button, and go ahead and answer that question for us.
Google Classroom, Skype. Okay, there's a lot of people putting messages into chat as well, so I'm just reading through a few of them.
Try to find the button on the bottom of your screen that says polling. It's got a little chart above it, icon, and then you can answer the question inside of our polling screen today, so we can get those results and we can send them out to everybody at the end of that. But if you're writing to us in chat, that's fine as well. But polling is the best place for us to do that.
Okay, so
all right.
We can
We'll
see
send out
that
those results at the end of our webinar today.
Thank you, Carsten. Yeah, I think what we can see is that there seems to be a combination. Zoom's popping up a lot. I see Google Hangouts as well, and Skypes and FaceTime. So we really do have a combination of different tools that we're actually using. So again, we will come back to the polling. If you can't find it, please let us know, and Carson will redirect you to that again at the end, just to reconfirm exactly where you go. Those results will better inform us about the kind of technology that you're using, so then we can adapt and tweak our lessons to match that, okay? So the second thing that I would like to do is, what have you noticed? You can put this into chat as well for us, and raise your hand. What are the differences that you've noticed, between online teaching and traditional teaching? So they are quite different. What are some of the things as teachers that you have noticed? Do we have any raising of hands there? Would anybody like to give any ideas? No control over people's attention. Very.
We have Solus here. Let's try to see if we can get them on. I'm sorry, so we can't do that. Let's see if we can get Cecilia with us this morning. Hi, Cecilia. If you unmute your microphone, you are with us now on Talk Time.
Yep. I'm making a note of all the points that you are talking about, ladies and gentlemen, as you are writing them as well. So I am making a note of that.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi.
Okay.
Where are you from, Cecilia?
I'm from Mexico City, but I'm living in Querétaro right now. Querétaro is a state of Mexico.
Well, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. Tell us a little bit about your experience with doing online lessons.
Okay, the online lessons I have been seeing that they're a little bit like not very communicate, because maybe you can distract yourself with some other things that you have on your place than in a classroom.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
there's definitely more distractions there. We also have somebody that's joining us today from Russia, and forgive me, I don't know how to pronounce the name. I think it might be
Catherine.
Hi, introduce, please tell us where you're from. Welcome to Talk Time.
Catherine. So it's more difficult to prepare for the lesson, because if you have online course, you are to prepare everything beforehand. When you teach just face-to-face, you can take everything you need and you can act and include everything that just comes into your mind. But in online teaching, you can't do this. You should prepare and send the material and distribute maybe the material into special groups or between the groups or something. And for students, sometimes it's difficult to understand that they can't get the answer just at once when something comes into their mind.
Yeah, I think that's some really interesting points, actually, that, all of you are raising, but and really interesting there. I think things that are coming up are interaction, personal contact, of course. That's always going to be a difficult one. We can't replicate that online, unfortunately, but seeing each other's faces does help. Preparing for lessons, and again, like you said, as teachers, we do change and adapt our lesson based on the students' needs, wants, and how they're feeling sometimes on that day. So I think that they are different things and challenges that we face. However, we do think, look, a structure, a really simple structure for your lessons, as you may be able to see from the slide, really helps. So, having, your aims set up clearly at the beginning of the lesson, the students know what the lesson is about. Interaction, it's a key factor because it does keep their attention within the lesson, whether that's digital or whether it is within the classroom. Sometimes in the classroom, the kids are not listening as well. So, we have the same thing that we do, which is getting the kids' attention. Yeah. We also have there giving them a task, getting them to do that task, then come back and interact, and then finally doing some feedback. So of these different areas, interaction, we're going to play a little game with you. I want you to think, how do you get the kids to interact on an online lesson? Any suggestions? You can type them, and you can also put up your little hand. So how do we get the kids to interact online?
Google Docs, that's an interesting one. Google Docs allowing people to type on the same document back and forth. So
I've seen that in my research. It sounds interesting.
Very nice. Toys, I like that. Breakout rooms. Ah.
Let's see, we have somebody who's joining us now. It looks like Salika. Salika, if you unmute your microphone, you can join us live with Talk Time.
The individual students.
Individual students to answer specific questions, asking comments on an image or reading, answering questions, taking objects around. That's interesting. That's going to come up a little bit later.
Yeah, look, see,
Very
we
good.
know that we're teaching to teachers. So again, these are some of the things that we have come up with, like a guideline. And as I said, please note that if you cannot read this clearly now, you will get this to look at afterwards. Okay, so interaction, just topic-based, getting a discussion going. We're going to show you a couple of ideas as well. Hopefully some nice simple things just to boost up that interaction and make lessons, you know, fun, but engaging, and keep their attention. I hope I'm keeping your attention. Show of hands, how's the attention going, everybody? Are we all paying attention? We can do that at any stage, just to check and to ensure that we're getting that balance right within our lessons. So again, you can find lots of other resources. We will come back to that as well, but we will move forward as well. So Zoom specifically is one of the things that we're going to look at, and Sean has done some fantastic research within this area, so he's going to give you a little bit of information about some of these different things. So over to you, Sean.
Thank you very much. Okay, so as Tanya has said, I've been looking at different ways that you can adapt lessons and use tools that particularly Zoom provides for online lessons. So I'm going to try and deal with the first three in one activity. So I'm just going to share my screen. Hang on. Carson, you can stop sharing and I can share mine.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Okay. So there we go. I'm going to share my whiteboard, and I have already 3 sentences. They are 3 sentences about me. So I would like you to raise your digital hands if you think the first sentence, I have worked in British TV, is true. Okay. We have 16, 20, up to about 30 who believe I have a face for television. Fantastic. Okay. All right. That's very interesting. So it came to about 42. Let me annotate that.
So the feature that Sean is using inside of Zoom is called Whiteboard, and it is a free extra that is included inside of the Zoom digital conferencing. Zoom has made their product available to many countries around the world free of charge during this current crisis that we're sitting in. So feel free to look them up at zoom.us, and you can apply for a free program of Zoom. And this is one of those features called Digital Whiteboard.
Okay. I'm also using another free application called Microsoft Whiteboard because I happen to find it a bit easier to prepare. That again is also free, and you can find it on the Microsoft Marketplace. Okay, so for the second sentence, put up your digital hand if you believe I have lived in 10 different countries. Note the lived and the 10. Okay. A similar number are convinced by that, so we're going up to about 43. I can see there. Okay, you can lower your hands. And the final one, do I look like someone who has eaten crocodile meat? Hands up if you think that's true. Oh, okay. I very much look like someone who is eating crocodile meat.
Even I have to put my hand up there.
Okay, I saw the biggest number there was about 56, so I don't know what that says about me. Anyways, okay, so for us to find the correct answer, I'm going to use the annotation tool and I'm going to click on a stamp. The two crosses, no, there's one cross and two ticks, excuse me, is here. I have worked in British TV. It's a TV program called GMTV. I was never filmed, but I was in the background as a runner. The other true one is, yes, I have eaten crocodile meat. It was at an international fair, which sold different types of very interesting food. It was kind of bland, actually. It wasn't as exciting as I thought it would be. And while I have lived in many countries, and I've visited many countries, I have not got to living in 10. So that was the wrong one. Okay, so that is a very simple classroom activity that I have tried to transfer to online using the three things. What did I have? I had the whiteboard, the annotate, and the raise your hand. And in fact, in meetings, you can use reactions. So you're not just restricted to raising your hand. You can wave, you can put your thumbs up, you can do lots of different ones in Zoom. Okay, moving on. Breakout rooms. Unfortunately, with this format, we can't demonstrate this, but I can show you again if I share my screen what you will be looking for in Zoom to use it. Okay, so in there you would click on the breakout rooms thing, which would put up this window. My example, I had 0 participants. With you may have up to 30, I don't know, and you can put them into a number of different rooms. These can be random, or you can select who goes in. That would be a kind of activity you would use after they've watched a video together, for example, and you have some discussion questions for them. So it makes it a little bit more interactive than simply asking the room and individually unmuting microphones. So I think that that can be very useful.
Sean, we have a question coming from Margarita, which is back on the whiteboard feature. Can you write on the whiteboard while you're explaining? And the answer is yes, you can continue to write on the whiteboard. So different from a PowerPoint presentation, which is a static slide that you cannot make edits to, the digital whiteboards, either through Zoom or through Microsoft, allows you to actually do live writing or live annotating right on the screen. So the students can see you doing the explanation right there. Great question, Margarita. Thank you.
Okay, and I will just stop my share there. Okay, I think the final one I have to talk about is virtual backgrounds. Now you can see that all three of us have the MLA background, but if you wanted to introduce a topic, for example, and your topic was festivals, I'm going to change my virtual background to something that might be more appropriate. Give me a second. Okay, I think it's this one. No, that's not festivals.
Definitely not festivals then. Looking like you're in a nice country home in the middle of winter. Those snowy weathers we heard about later, that's kind of what you want, the open fire in the background.
Exactly. Okay, here we go. All right. So then I could start asking questions like, it could be, for example, a pet. What can, exercise, what can you see? You can see lots of little people around there. What do you think they're doing? What sort of festival is this? What time of day is it? Okay, and it can be a little more interactive than simply sharing your screen and showing them a photo. I can see that Carson has suddenly traveled to Hawaii. You shouldn't really
virtual
do that
backgrounds are such a great tool to use for students because it allows them a lot of creativity for in the lesson. So for an example, a great lesson would be for your students to choose a virtual background and give a weather report from somewhere around the world. So if I was going to be on the news today, I would say, hello, this is Carson Langenfeld reporting live from the beach in Waikiki, Hawaii. The weather today is going to be 92 degrees. There's a beautiful breeze that's coming through the air and blowing all of our palm trees today. The water temperature is around 72 degrees. And after I eat my pineapple, I'm going to go for a swim in the ocean and maybe do some surfing. Back to you in the studio.
And that would be back to me, because then I would potentially be keeping my nice office-based professional background going on here. So we could have a contrast of different backgrounds going on, so that we can use those virtual backgrounds in so many different ways. Really simple, and all of the students have it. I'm not sure if somebody mentioned earlier, what about if your computer or your laptop doesn't allow you to do the virtual background? Now, my computer isn't as advanced as everybody else's. However, a very simple thing to be able to use is what is called a green screen. So you can actually set something up behind your PC, and that will allow you to use a virtual background. Do have a try at home before. I tried it a couple of different times and had a few goes before I got it right, okay? So we'd like to move on with a couple more ideas that we can introduce for you. So again, we have a couple of different games here that potentially we could use. We have Virtual Taboo, Online Pictionary, Stop the Bus, and Roundrobin. You may have heard of these. You can do some research to find out more. We're happy to send you some ideas to further these. However, we'd like to play one with you now. And this is Roundrobin. So Roundrobin begins with, I will begin with a story, a line. Then we will move to Carson, who will begin with the second line of that story, and finally on to Sean. So for example, let's begin with the first line. It was a cold, wet, miserable day in London. Everyone was sad. I left my home and
I went to the grocery store to buy myself some tea and biscuits. And when I went to the checkout, I reached in my pocket.
And I found nothing there. And it was incredibly embarrassing. And well, I say nothing there. There were some biscuits already in my pocket. So I took them out and started munching on them.
And then we would like you to join in with us a little bit with our story. So if somebody can add on to the story, we have Sean we have all of us that have gone to the shop. We're there, we have no money, hand in pocket, apart from crumbly biscuits. What happens next?
All right, raise your
digital
hands, guys.
You are welcome to either type the next line of the story, or you can put your hand up for the next line of the story.
All right, let's see if we can get Sol on with us. Sol, can you hear us?
What happens next, Sol?
Anybody else want to raise your hand while Sol sees if we can get him on board with us? We have Amelia. Hi, Amelia. You can unmute your microphone.
I offered to work there. We have some things coming through on chat. Oh, Amelia.
Okay. I apologize to the man at the tilt because there were people waiting online.
No problem,
Okay.
Amelia. Go ahead. How would you finish the story?
Should I finish the story?
Yes. So we were at the store. We were buying tea and biscuits. We put our
Okay,
hands
so
in our
since
pocket
I
and we
found
found
out that I
envelope.
had no money, I apologized to the man at the tilt, and
Okay.
he looked at my face, and with great sorrow, he decided to give me a couple of biscuits as a gift to cheer
Perfect.
my day up.
Very nice.
Thank you, Amelia. Thank you very much.
Thank
We have
you.
Ariana with us now to continue the story. Go ahead, Ariana.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I would pretend to have been robbed. So I apologize with the owner of the shop. And let's pretend to have been robbed. I don't know.
And do you leave
Love
the
it.
store? What happens next?
Exactly.
Oh, I don't know. What
So
could
again,
happen
this
next?
So again, this idea, Adriana and Amelia, of adding on to the story, and everybody who's typing their messages, fantastic. And what you can do with this is play this with your students, and then at the end, get them to write the actual story. So it's testing that they were listening to each other. And then they can write it as a blog that they can submit for you for the next lesson. So it's about making it interactive and setting the task up. Now we'd like to move on to one other idea that we would like to do, and also move on to Sean. You have another one here, don't you, Sean?
Oh, I do. Okay, so to emphasize the interactiveness of your lessons, it might be useful for students to take control sometimes and make use of the idea that they are at home, and they can, for example, wander into their kitchen and find something that maybe they don't know what the English word for is, and go, "Teacher, what's this? Can any teachers help me? What am I holding?"
We have Leah. Leah, you can go ahead and unmute your microphone and you can talk with us today.
Hello. I don't know if it's a strainer or a colander.
Both good. All right.
Did I guess?
You guys are really
Colander
good.
is a bit more solid. It has fewer holes.
Yeah. Let's
They're
see if
very
we
good.
have,
If you look at the chat, there's a few who have it.
we have it here. Katerina has it as well. Lots of people. So that's right. The correct answer is
A sieve.
a sieve.
Yeah, spelled S-I-E-V-E. What
Very
a
nice.
fantastic spelling as well.
Very
Okay,
good.
and it's lucky. What's the verb for things that you do with a sieve? When you're doing this, what are you doing? Sift and to sieve. Yes, there you go. Okay, and you can go on and on with this. You could then start going into how you make a cake, what ingredients you have, the different processes you have, all just growing from one thing that a student might not know and is curious about in their home.
One of the nice things that Sean is trying to describe in his lesson is that we oftentimes think about digital lessons as sitting at a desk in front of a computer. Okay, so getting the students an opportunity to get up from their chair and get up from their desk and just take 2 minutes to go into the kitchen to grab an item is making it interactive. Okay, the English lessons that you're able to give to your students are different from history lessons or mathematics lessons where they're glued completely to the screen. You have an opportunity to make your lessons interactive by saying, let's take 2 minutes to go into the kitchen. And if your students are using their mobile phones for their lessons, they can even bring their mobile phone with them as they go into their kitchen and they find the item to bring back and to describe. So ESL Online Lessons has a really unique opportunity to be more interactive with students than a traditional course subject that has to be given in front of a computer in a seated position.
I think that's extremely important, as Carson has mentioned, get the students up. That task setup time we showed you in the lesson is to get them up, go find something and come back. So again, it gives them time to go and look for something. Set a timer, say you have 3 minutes to find an object in your bedroom, bring it back, it must be clean, and present it. Whatever you've got, whatever they find, it creates interaction and conversation. The final one that we would like to do is a vocabulary game. Okay, so I'm going to test all of your English now, our English teachers. I am going to show you a flashcard with a letter on it. I would like you to say as many different foods as you can think of, food, international topic, with this letter. Are you ready? Digital show of hands. Ready? Yes? Ready? Good. Are we ready? Let's go. So the letter is S. The sound S. Look.
We've got soup, salad, sausages, sushi, spaghetti.
You guys are fantastic.
Cool.
Let's try a different one. And are we ready for the next letter? Let's go. And the next one, again, with the same topic of food, G. also known as G.
Garlic, lovely.
Goose.
Goulash,
Francesca
fantastic.
knows. Francesca, all your G letters.
Gum. Is gum a food?
Amazing. And again, it's a simple game. It requires a flashcard. I have these flashcards, but you can use anything if you want to. You can have a pen and a piece of paper, and you can just write it down. So it can just be really simple technique for us to use with all of our students.
All right, Tanya, I have a game.
Please, Carson, let's play.
So I love music. So one of my favorite games that you can play with your students that love music too is called Finish That Lyric. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the very beginning of a song, and then I'm going to stop the song, and I'm going to want somebody to finish the lyric of the song. So finish the last part of the sentence, okay? So here we go. Here comes my song.
Start spreading the news. I'm leaving today.
Okay, who wants to finish the lyric? Let's see, we have Maria up. Marina, can you unpause your microphone and finish the lyric? Let's see if we can also maybe try Paula. Marina, can you hear us? We're trying a couple different people here. If you can unmute your microphone, you can join us live on Talk Time. Okay, somebody's with us with an unmuted microphone. I hear you. Marina, can you finish that lyric? Nope, she muted her microphone.
She wasn't ready for the singing. We understand. We understand. It's fine.
I can see in the chat that someone has the next verse.
Is there somebody in the chat?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
There's lots and lots in the chat that are definitely getting the answer right.
Yeah, okay, let's see what the last part of the lyric is.
I want to be part of
it.
There you go. I want to be a part of it. New York, New York. I think a very
Hello, I want to be a part of it. New York, New York.
Wow,
Awesome rendition. Fantastic.
Oh, lovely.
Thank you, guys. That's great. So that's just
I'm
another
from New York.
example of a fun game that we can use with the students with some music in order to get them to be more interactive with the lesson. So Finish That Lyric is a great idea for you to use with your students. And they can play the song too. So you can allow them to use the song, and then they can stop it at any moment and have one of their friends finish the lyric with them.
Yep. So again, you know, and you may have students that are very musical, so they may be interested in doing certain lessons, etc., you know, and doing some sing-songing themselves. So do get them involved.
All right.
And finally, we're just going to have a look, some of the different resources that are available that you can actually show to some of your students.
Okay.
So Sean, would you like to just explain that a little bit?
Yes, please. Yeah. Okay, so the first one is, I may have to take control of your screen, Carson.
I think we can just read through them because we're almost out of time today.
Okay. So these will be, you will obviously be sent this this PowerPoint, so you'll be able to explore the links themselves. Okay. The first one is a Zoom article which will take you through the functions and the bells and whistles of using Zoom, which will take you through, for example, breakout rooms and how you can get that working. The next one is mainly for resources. So British Council has a lot of videos and articles on various topics and levels. So if you are struggling to look for materials, that is one of the first places I tend to go. The two below it, Film English and ESL Brains. I don't know if anyone has used them, but I use them quite a lot. Again, they have fantastic video resources and extra worksheets. I should say that ESL Brains has is starting to make e-lesson versions of their lessons, but you do have to pay on Patreon for that service. I think it's $5 a month, so it may be worth it. The last one is EduBlogs, which is something I used in my teaching career. In my case, it was to set homework and give extra materials, but this could be a place that that you can give access to materials that you will use in the lesson for online lessons. Now, does anyone have any others that they feel should be on this list? If you have something to share, then raise your digital hand.
Yeah, and do put a little line in chat for us as well. If you think that there's anything else that could be shared with, you know, the rest of everybody else here on the team, please do type your little references for anywhere else that, you know, for any of the others. Again, as we said at the beginning, you will get this entire presentation, so you will be able to look at it and find any of those other things. We'll make a note of anything that you're saying, and we'll try to add that on as well. So if we can just move on, what we would like to do is just to find out from all of you, actually, again, just having a look together, what have you found our presentation useful today? Have you found some good ideas that you can take and do some teaching with your students? If you have, please just do a little show of hands for us.
Lots of good things on the chat. People that are using episodes of TV from Netflix. It looks like TED ED. TED is a great online platform that you can find on YouTube for some educational videos. Scholastic, tpt.com, teachit.co.uk, Books, TED Talks again, Kahoot. It looks like internationalfilms.org is another resource. So lots of good things that are here. We will try to put all of these together for you when we send out the presentation and to do them. So once again, we want to thank you so much for taking part of your day to join us with MLA Talk Time, this free teacher training workshop that we are committed to providing for you for the next coming weeks. We're all in this together, and we really do appreciate the interactiveness that you have shared with us today. And I really appreciate Tanya and Sean for sharing so much of their teaching resources and lessons with us today. So thanks again for joining us today. We will send out a copy of today's presentation as well as the recording of the webinar. And we hope that you're going to join us next Wednesday, that's April the 1st, for our third series in the MLA Talk Time series. So until then, thanks again for taking time for Talk Time.
Thank you so much, everybody. I look forward to seeing you next week. Please join us again and tell your friends to come.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Look forward to seeing you on April Fool's Day, which is not an April Fool.
It's not a joke. We will be here next Wednesday. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.